Me, becoming spiritual, I think, is an often misunderstood process. I believe some people think that you suddenly become perfect and you stay that way, kind of like Jesus did in the Bible. You're of unity consciousness and never ever falter or slip back into duality at all, even with mind control hammering away at your mental and emotional minds, trying to trip you up and the light placing you back on lower timelines in order to aid people there. You also go back into lower dimensions to continue to work out triggers. That'd be great, but I don't think it's very realistic. I think in order to be that spiritual you'd have to devote 100% of your time to becoming more spiritual. For most of us, particularly in the Western world, which is not even designed to facilitate a spiritual lifestyle, in fact, it's designed to stop you from even being nice to others, never mind ascending. Case in point, social media where arguments break out constantly, we still have to interact with the unspiritual world around us in order to take care of our physical needs. What can we expect of ourselves as we go about this world with people who are not awake and who do anything but what is considered to be of higher consciousness? You try not to let them affect you, and you try to forgive them. On top of this, you also have to try not to let your ego overtake the situation and start feeling smugly superior to the people who you have to relate to or awkwardly dissimilar from them. One example, my next door neighbors are hunters. They kill and eat animals, something I'm not that supportive of. Do I say anything? No, I don't. I believe they have the right to live as they wish. I know there are a lot of people out there who would disagree with me, but I'm not in the habit of telling other people how to live, because frankly, I don't want the responsibility for their lives if something goes wrong, and I'm not in the habit of rubbing their noses in it if I contribute to their success in any way. I just let things be. I find being attached to the activities of lower dimensional people is pretty foolish because your attachment drags you down with them. They have calamities and chaos happening all the time, and I just watch them, trying to be supportive, but I don't get involved to the point that it screws up my life. I have my own challenges still to consider first. Being spiritual right now is, yes, a study of metaphysics, astrology, alchemy, esoterica, witchcraft, and more. That is a spiritual practice. But the be-all and end-all of everyday spirituality, I figure, is how good you feel within your own skin, and secondly, how you treat others, particularly those you are in disagreement with. It's easy to tell when you're out of alignment with the love of life. You feel bad. Your frequency drops. So you have to figure out why and correct the problem. One of the things we have to deal with is the financial enslavement of the matrix. You need to earn money. I have been criticized as not being spiritual because I need to earn money, which is nonsense. Of course you have to earn money or you'd starve. Unfortunately, those are the rules. I didn't make them, I was just born into them like everyone else. Spiritual people have to fill their stomachs, drive cars and buy clothing. I'm not saying I don't want to see that changed, I certainly do, and I'm here to start that change. Eventually things on earth will be free because that's what God intended. I've been called a fraud, and I figure it's because I don't wear white robes, Jesus sandals and other biblical excerpts, but I encourage others to reach for their highest selves themselves. Then people say I don't walk my talk. You're right. Sometimes I fall out of soul and I have to get back up there. Do I adhere to it perfectly? No, I don't. I was unfriended once because of this, by a person who claims to be absolutely spiritual, and of course, he isn't. But as long as he's happy with himself, that's fine. I know he goes to my website and spreads my messages. I can tell when I see his messages that he's been on there, so I just have a chuckle. Either that or he thinks a lot like Ashtar does. It's also hard to be spiritual when your relationships with other people have been abysmally disappointing. Everything from short-term love relationships, abusive parents, fair-weather friends, and neighbors from hell I've experienced, and although I realize it's led to my growth, I still don't appreciate being abused. How about that? Doing this work, I get hate mail, I've had pages-long emails sent from people on everything they see as being wrong with me, poison messages on Messenger, guy calling Ivo the devil, I've been stalked, harassed, baited with money, you name it. What I know about this world is, there are precious few who can treat me the way I want to be treated. Perhaps other high-consciousness souls of alien origin can agree with me, I don't know. I'm a 14th dimensional, not even from this universe, and here I land up in 3D on a planet run by sociopathic murderers. I've never felt comfortable on this planet, ever. Some of that has to do with the fact I'm not living with Ivo this lifetime and it's him I've been seeking, thank God I finally found him. The other part of that has to do with free will violators and my extensive experience with them. I just don't find this to be a very nice place. I know that extraterrestrial humans have a big difference from humans on Earth, they're not harmful in any way, unintentionally or not. And I trust them. People on Earth don't know any better and are all learning. ETs are very aware of the impact they have on others because they are empathic, telepathic, and can feel your reaction. So they get very accurate feedback to how their behavior affects others. Earthlings don't. Unless you're in empathy. I believe being spiritual on Earth has to do with helping others. Not violating their free will in doing so, but helping others when they ask for your help. You help yourself first, then you help others. Unless you know what to do, how can you help them? I wrote the book, Stop Being a Victim, because I had a lot of experience in re-empowering myself. Until you have created that change in yourself, how can you help others? So this is another misconception people have trouble with, helping yourself first, it has to be done otherwise how will you know what to do? Being spiritual is not a question of picking battles. If there's a battle to be had in anything, you're approaching it wrong. Sit and wait till a better solution comes along. If all you can create is chaos as an apparent solution, keep looking. Your soul is peaceful. To me, chaos is the problem, not the solution. The solution is always peaceful because that's where you want to resonate at, peace. I do, anyway. The other thing I've found about spiritual growth is the less you want to look at a particular thing, the more you need to. The resistance you put up is also illogical, because in the end, it's your peace of mind that is the prize to be won. Who wants to put that off any longer? I don't. Why put off your own happiness? And sometimes it takes work. One of the universal laws is the law of action, and that means that action must be taken in the physical to create one's good. Those who come along who seek to rob you of your peace of mind are doing you a favor. Perhaps they're showing you where you are still able to be triggered, perhaps they're showing you how much progress you've made when you can't be triggered, how much you're healed, maybe they're showing you how much compassion you really have for this world in spite of your experiences when you can still find it within your heart to forgive them and wonder what they possibly could have gone through to make them so toxic. The other thing they could be showing you is how authentic you've become because many people who are fakes hate those who have the guts to stand in their own power. People are mirrors and they can mirror messages back to you all the time. It's just how you interpret them. In the Course in Miracles, which I just finished, Jesus says we have to forgive others. My point is, what if that's all you do? What is there is nothing more to your relationships than you're having to forgive others for falling short of your needs and wants. I've had a whole life of that. Still to this day, I have to live with so many people who fall short of what I'd want them to be. I have a sister that Ivo says he has to cut off energy from because if he didn't shield me, her negative opinion of me would be crippling to me. My friend from high school thinks I'm nuts because I came out and said I am an ET contactee. What if there is no way you can divulge the entirety of who you are to anyone around you lest you be thought of as an idiot? Welcome to my life. I'm sure some of you have the same problem. We have to forgive constantly, but in the end, did you find someone who is there for you, can accept you as you are? I didn't. I am alone and have learned to enjoy it. I know what will happen when I put myself out there and it gets to the point you just do it anyway despite the consequences. I gladly drive around in my car with all its signs and bumper stickers, directing people to my Red Pill website rather than sit there quietly and perhaps miss the opportunity of waking people up. I can't do that. If I can open one person's eyes, it was worth it. One thing I want to say to the people who replied to my email with a, sorry, and then went on with your message is that talk is cheap. Saying sorry when you don't mean it is a lie. If you were truly sorry about what you're doing, you wouldn't do it. Sorry, the way you're using it doesn't wash with me, and your using it needs looking at on your part. For those who emailed saying they love me, I want you to consider that love is not about violating others' boundaries. Love is about respecting others and at least compromising with them on their boundaries if compliance isn't possible. Love is about respect, not about disrespecting their wants and needs and putting yours first. This world has a lot to learn. And don't expect me to remain quiet about it. I won't. For those willing to hear what I have to say, you've got guts and I admire you. For those who don't like my message, the bus stops here for you, you can get off and go find someone who will tell you what you want to hear because I won't. Becoming more spiritual is about taking a good hard look at yourself, calling yourself on your own BS and changing your behavior. It's moving away from superficiality, manipulation, and control and realizing your own power. It's moving away from the way everyone else operates to operate your mind in your own authentic, empowered way. And it can be very lonely. It requires forgiveness constantly. I believe Jesus said in ACIM that forgiveness is healing, it heals the world. When you forgive someone for an indiscretion, it helps to heal them and you. In doing so, the world is healed. Is this true, Ivo? Ivo, my love, it is true. Forgiveness heals the world. Me, how does my forgiving emailers of this past weekend help to heal the world? Ivo, love always prevails over hate. When you change your heart and forgive them, then you raise your frequency and erase their sin if you wish to call it that, their error in judgment. Me, so how does this help the world? Ivo, there is one less instance of this error to be lodged in the Akashic, there is one less instance of this karma to be worked through, there is one less instance of this bad judgment to be lodged in the collective unconscious, and less of it to be dealt with at a global level. This helps with the ascension of planet Earth and its people. Me, got it? No less than that. No wonder I do so much forgiving. Ivo, it is important. Also remember to forgive yourself because you are seeing error in their behavior. Me, it annoys me. Ivo, you could respond any number of ways to it. Me, I hate having my boundaries violated. I lived with parents who spent my childhood invading my head. I hate invasive people to any extent. Ivo, so you see what you must work on then. Me, yeah, I guess. I see that I can work on changing the way I feel about having my boundaries violated. Right now I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Having people get into your head all the time and stay there feels like. I can't even describe it. Having to live with the fact that someone you can't stand, my father, who you think is nuts is changing the settings in your mind is a horrible way to live. He's telling you how to think and you have to do it because otherwise you'd get beat. Oh, and by the way, that's why I'm so opposed to masks and the NWO agenda. I've already lived through this once, total control. Imagine an entire world, like perhaps in China or in Victoria, Oz having people telling them what to think and what to do and they'd better comply or else. This is coming. And if they don't manage to have control over your minds any other way, then they'll use the microchip to do it. I've been there once. I know how it feels to have your autonomy taken away by a control freak. It's not pleasant. So I hate having my boundaries violated. I don't care under what premise you violate my boundaries, if you do it, you do it. I don't see being nice or helpful as an excuse to violate boundaries. If you don't like my saying this, unsubscribe to these messages. Okay, I just got another message. Totally didn't hear what I said. Not at all. I'm going to be changing my email account so you can reply all you want to my newsletter. I won't be using that account anymore. When you don't get what you want, you change how you do things. You have to because people don't listen. And I thank all of you who are. When I was on Facebook, I had loads of issues with trolls and people arguing and fighting. I was really tired of it, and one day I said, I want to share on my timeline, but I want to attract people who are interested in what I'm saying, and not interested in fighting with it. Eventually I blocked all the arguers, and there I was, with exactly what I'd commanded. Nobody was fighting, and to this day, it's still like that. Everyone is respectful. Ivo, and this is very possible, my love. You did it. You attracted the audience you wanted. Respectful people who do not argue. They may not always agree but do not feel the need to start fights over that fact. Me, that's a behavior I've never understood, ever. Ivo, it is reptilian. Me, must be why. Anyway, this seems like me making a big issue out of a small problem, but in fact it is indicative of a lot more that is problematic on this world. Ivo, I agree, my love. And you are not afraid to let people know that they are part of the problem? You all need to work together to change the way you interrelate. Then you can stop wars. But it all starts with you. Me, I realize people violate boundaries because theirs were violated as children, most likely. But you have to stop at some point and refuse to continue that behavior and stop doing it to others. That takes being able to see fault in yourself, which the arrogant ego isn't keen on doing. The solution is not to keep abusing others in the same way you were abused, the solution is to heal the abuse in yourself. I have now discontinued use of that email account. People don't listen, so I have to take other measures and use another account, which I won't disclose. For those who really want to break their egos down and start accessing soul, 12-step groups are a great way to do this. This is the entire focus of their program, stopping the ego from running your life, because as an abused person, you've lived a life of defending yourself and your ego from pain, but the ego is the part of you that creates and feels pain, so it's been futile for you. The soul only knows love.